Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to do a late night stream. I'm being a little more quiet. Got to get my microphone up close and personal so I can do a late night report for you while the family is going to bed. But I really needed to look over these markets and connect with you guys. Sorry I'm unable to do this over a live stream, but I am going to record this and be sitting in the comments live so I can respond to your chat as it comes in. So do interact with me, do ask questions, do be supportive of new people in the chat. If you're just tuning in, if you've got an answer. If you got a question, just ask. There's no dumb question. And really, in this community, we try to be the mentors we wish we had when we got started. So let's jump straight into it, guys. First things first, I've got a little bit of calculation there for the cost to mine one full Bitcoin. We're going to jump into that in just a second. But the fear and greed index is currently at a score of 22. So we're definitely into that extreme fear range. Yesterday, score of 28. Last week, 33. Down from last month, a score of neutral. And I mentioned that neutrality, we can't really respond against. We can't really make plans against neutrality, right? But now that we are in this lower range of extreme fear and then popping back up to neutrality a few days ago, right? A couple weeks ago, or exactly 1 week ago, there's not really a whole lot we can do to respond to that, right? It's just sort of something we kind of wait for something to happen. Either the price moves up or the price moves down. The news kind of moves up or it moves down, and it forces people to respond more with a fear response or a greed response. But we can't do much with that. I view it as a counter indicator, though. When everybody is fearful, we make plans, right? We dig in, we try to find those projects that we want to support, and we go heavy, right? That's when we really get to work. And when everybody else is euphoric, right? When everybody else is flying high on the price action, that's when we say, all right, pump the brakes, maybe take some profits here, or at least make some plans as to what I'm going to do when I get to that point where I know I'm in the money and know I'm in profit. But all that said, none of this is meant to be financial advice. You have to make the best decisions for your investment goals and for your cryptocurrency goals. So just take that with a grain of salt, guys. All right, jumping back out of the way, that's the current fear and greed index. Score of 22. I expect that we're going to continue to see these very, very low scores staying in sort of extreme fear for a while. Here's the current Bitcoin chart. As outlined before, our green range, I still think we're in that tremendous DCA range. We've been just fine to DCA for a while. Could it dip lower? Of course it can. Could we see a correction all the way down to $20,000? Of course. And anybody who says like, well, you know, Bitcoin has never dipped below its previous all-time high, after a correction. Well, guess what? It's also never failed to add a zero every time it prints a new all-time high. Every model is broken, right? Billions, the whole stock to flow chart. When I had people ask me about that and say, okay, I need you to tell me that you're confident in this chart or you're not confident in this chart. Well, guess what? I'm not confident enough to treat it like some kind of gospel, right? Some kind of Bible truth of Bitcoin. And I'm glad that I didn't, because here we are with that model broken. Bitcoin, by all historical accounts, once it printed a new all-time high, should have gone over $100,000. Some were calling for $400,000 Bitcoin. We didn't even come close, right? We failed to get within the within $30,000 of that mark on the first run up, and then on the second run up, we failed to get past $70,000. So clearly, we've got manipulation. Clearly, the game is changed forever, and clearly now, based on executive orders by the Biden administration, I can't bring myself to say that it was Joe Biden himself that penned this. Clearly he didn't, but his people drafted this really comprehensive executive order that mentions cryptocurrencies by name and specifically is sort of othering Bitcoin as a dirty, polluting, pollution-oriented, and an evil private sector cryptocurrency. That makes me love it all that much more, right? It makes me want to dig into Bitcoin all that much more. But I think that there's definitely been some behind-the-scenes manipulation, not only from institutions, but possibly also from governments moving into this new phase, right? Now that we're looking at the regulation, staring it right in the face, there's got to be something going on there. So anyway, little conspiracy theory for you there. I think this range is probably fine, though. Could we dip down below? Again, since all previous models are broken, yeah, we could. Could we see $15,000 Bitcoin? Absolutely we could. Some people have said $10,000 or $11,000 Bitcoin. And this is one of those areas in which, you've got some people who are sort of anti-Bitcoin maxis and in the crypto space agreeing with Peter Schiff that we could see $10,000 or $11,000 Bitcoin. I'm not so sure that's going to be the target that we actually hit, but I'm not going to rule it out. And I've said publicly that $15,000 Bitcoin is absolutely a possibility. And I'm going to validate that in just a second when we go over our price to mine one full Bitcoin. So jump out of the way so I can show you that. But I think we could see much more blood on this chart. And I think still it's not a bad range to DCA in this area, but we will have value purchases ahead of us, I think. So lock in that chart. Nothing fancy, just kind of show these are still the ranges we're operating in, and I'm not going to show any other indicators here. Current MACD is bearish, but we barely flipped into bearishness there, and I think we are seeing a bit of a bounce. I don't think we're going to move away from a negative trend. I think we are going to crawl sideways a little bit longer and then flip bearish. I think we've been bearish for a while, and because of manipulation, we just haven't been able to see this fully express itself into a downward move. But over here on the Brains mining cost to mine indicator or cost to mine calculator, I put in the approximate parameters for an S19J Pro. So middle line, not quite top of the line, 5 nanometer product there from Bitmain. This is currently the top of the line until Intel is able to release their models. But you see here that you would need 22 cent per kilowatt hour power to break even. What does that mean? It means that at 8 cents per kilowatt hour, you're producing one full Bitcoin for about 13.5. I think that's reasonable. When we look at something more along the lines of 5 cent per kilowatt hour power, you're looking at 8.5. Definitely sustainable, even if we dip into the lowest of the low for support from anyone's projections for Bitcoin. But I think that 13.5 being just below $15,000, I think puts the current top of the line mining equipment in position to win. And then all legacy Bitcoin mining equipment, if it's being hosted internationally or at extremely low cost basis for power, then we may be just fine. But the point is, I think that validates that the cost of production is going to trend right about like when it's at highest efficiency, trend right about where the market may be able to retrace to when it finally finds its bottom support, when the air is fully deflated out of the market and we get to the very, very bottom, right? It's, little wavy guy out in the parking lot, fans turned off and falls all the way down. Yeah, I think that's when we see that $15,000 mark. Maybe. Hopefully we don't. But the point is, we could. And I said as much when we went into our last bear market and said, wow, you realize that the cost to produce one full Bitcoin is somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000. What did we see? We saw $3,400. Did I predict that? No. But it made sense to me, and so I went ahead and just talked about it publicly. It makes sense to me again now. That could repeat in a very unique way, or we could even dip below the cost to produce Bitcoin for a short time, or maybe we never get there because of manipulation moving forward and because of the massive inventory of Bitcoin miners that are running on fully renewable power, so it might not have an effect at all. We'll see. Yeah, when we get there, but hopefully we don't test $15,000. Hopefully we don't see that doomsday scenario. Let's talk about some of the news though, because the Fear and Greed Index normally is an indicator of how people are feeling. Typically, that is expressed in the news. The FBI director said that Russia overestimates its ability to bypass U.S. sanctions using crypto. What are they basically saying between the lines here? They're basically saying that they've finally gotten good enough at on-chain analysis, using companies like Chainalysis as contractors, as well as their own internal tools that have been built for them by Chainalysis, by Coinbase, by third parties, that they feel confident that they can definitely trace most transactions being done by Russian-owned wallets or by people who are unfortunately using a VPN with Russia as the IP endpoint. We knew this was coming. We've been talking about this for years, guys. Bitcoin is fairly well mapped. It was always a question of there being enough financial incentive to go after Bitcoin wallets, and the same is true of Ethereum wallets as well. We need privacy across the globe. But let's talk about some of the other articles that affect us on that front. I just wanted to be very, very clear that the gloves are off. The U.S. government and various three-letter agencies are basically telling us we know exactly how to trace everything we want to. All we need is the right motivation. It will not be very long before they're pretty much doing what the RIAA did back in the early 2000s, going after whatever stay-at-home moms or, little old grandmas whose grandchild living with them has made the wrong transaction on the wrong website and then making an example of these people in a court of law. It's coming. I really, really hope that anybody watching this video is able to put in the correct safeguards and treat their cryptocurrency carefully enough to avoid having a tragic outcome like that and becoming some kind of a public example or a statistic. So just be aware. That's what they're really saying there. They say it's Russia today, but it's you tomorrow. There's news from CryptoSlate saying that Binance is trying to open up shop in Dubai. Why did I bring this up? Because some people say, well, I'm considering expatriating or considering going to some place where cryptocurrency is just legal, where I don't have that legal battle ahead of me, or at least where the country is showing in good faith some kind of a willingness to accept cryptocurrencies and innovate with the times, not get left behind. Well, I think one of those options for you may be Dubai, if that's something that you're interested in. Do I live there? No. Disclosure. Am I telling anybody else, or disclaimer, am I telling anybody else to live there? No. I'm not telling anybody how to live their life or where to spend their money or their crypto. But there are some people who are big fans of Dubai. I know a coworker who lives there and has been very happy with living in Dubai. Know several other coworkers and friends who've said the safest they've ever felt has been when they visit Dubai or when they go on vacation in Dubai. And so to see that as an option, it piques my interest, we'll say. But apparently Binance is trying to open up shop there, which means if you are a resident of Dubai, if you have a legal standing in Dubai, then you'll have all the benefits of the full Binance suite of products. If you're into centralized exchanges and leverage trading and everything else that they have to offer, all the various trading pairs. For my part, I'm much more interested in decentralized finance and in using protocols over platforms, if that makes sense. So just permissionless protocols like Uniswap, permissionless protocols like several others that I've mentioned on the show. But the point is, I much prefer being able to work in DeFi wherever possible. So that's one option, though. Portugal apparently is another one. And this is from last month in February, where on Cointelegraph, they mentioned that it's becoming a haven for European Bitcoiners. Now, I don't know that people are speaking as favorably about Portugal more recently, but it is known to be one possible destination for people who are trying to make that lifestyle change. You can see the Bitcoin family here. They sold basically their entire life savings, went all in on Bitcoin way back when it was at a much lower cost basis, and then have pretty much just lived on their Bitcoin holdings and been very, very careful since then. But apparently Portugal is one of those locations that they frequent in order to maintain this lifestyle as a Bitcoin only family. So certainly it can be done. So consider Portugal on that short list as well. But for my part, personally, I'm still looking for something where there's a little bit more of that sense of freedom. There's a little bit more of that sense that people, that the government is actually interested in allowing people to be free with their money. And I think the next bit of news is what had me most excited. That is in Thailand. Oh dear. Let's go ahead and what? It looks like ZY Crypto is failing to load here, but here's another article from beincrypto.com, and it says Thailand considers accepting crypto from Russian tourists. So apparently there are trapped Russian tourists in Thailand. They're running out of cash because many of their credit cards are being shut down by the issuing authority, whether it's a bank or whether it's Visa or MasterCard proper. They're just not backing the cards that are issued to Russian citizens. This is, first off, I think it's a flagrant human rights abuse, right? It's a flagrant human rights violation to deny people access to their funds, to their money, because they happen to be citizens of a specific nation. These people who are tourists, who are vacationing in Thailand, by definition, are not invading Ukraine. They're not personally wielding firearms over across the border to try to oppress anybody else. They're on vacation, right? They're ostensibly out with their families, trying to live their lives, live their best life if they can, out in Southeast Asia. And so for Thailand to show this good faith to these people who are basically refugees, they're basically financial refugees. They can't even afford to get home, even if they wanted to, even if they were deported, it would require the state to send them home, or for somebody from Russia to extradite them from Thailand for them to get back to Russia. So they're stranded. So apparently Thailand wants to keep the tourism sector alive by allowing Russian tourists to use cryptocurrency. What would that do for any kind of any potential sanctions that are happening right now? I don't know for sure, but here's my best guess. It would set a precedent to basically make it clear that it doesn't matter if the person who is holding a cryptocurrency wallet ever used it at an IP address that is in Russia. If they're somewhere else, if they're physically somewhere else, cryptocurrency can still be used as tender somehow, legal tender somehow, or consideration at least to trade with people to be able to get gift cards and cab rides and Uber rides and stay at some kind of a B&B or pay for food and and accommodations or air travel if needs be. So I think there's a little bit, I take a little bit of an issue with the way the international community has come together to unilaterally sanction the livelihoods and the personal finance of citizens of Russia, just individuals, right? In the same way that my heart goes out to the people of Ukraine who are currently under the worst circumstance of having there be conflict, open conflict, right? Armed conflict where people are getting hurt. I don't want to see that. I don't think anybody in their right mind wants to see that. But at the same time, there are innocents in both of these countries. And I think it's pretty clear that people who are currently residing in Thailand who happen to be Russian citizens, they're very likely innocents in all of this. I don't think they made any kind of military decisions, and they certainly haven't been following any orders, air quotes, to do anything oppressive. So this makes me very happy to see the government of Thailand considering doing something like this. It's an extremely it's one of those win-win-win type situations where clearly it's a win for humanitarianism. It's a win for crypto, and it's a win for their government, right? They're able to maintain their tourism business and without compromising a moral standard, right? Of treating people like people who just need to live and have access to goods and services. So yeah, you tell me what you think down in the comments. I realize it's a bit political, guys. I don't mean to get politically charged. And again, this is not me condoning any kind of bad political actions, any wrongful political actions on the part of Russia or Ukraine, which is not a perfectly clean country with a perfectly clean history. It's not me condoning any bad decisions by these countries, and it's not me condoning any kind of violent action. But it is me saying that the people, right, the citizens, the humans who live in these countries are becoming victims of these weird circumstances. And I wish we would just do more in the way that Thailand is doing to stop treating all of these people like they're guilty of some crime if they haven't committed one. Anyway, rant over. Jumping back into our main content. This is not DeFi Llama, but TX Street on the top OpenSea listings for the last 24 hours. Looks like Dippies has been the top selling NFT. Could just be an airdrop right there. Looks like the current price change is not up or down, so floor price hasn't changed. Likely just an airdrop to a bunch of different wallets there. But the first one with an actual price, with a price movement up, is Thingdom's NFT, then Gutter Juice, Chromium Pass, and you can see the list here. I love that this is a resource over on TX Street, and I'm going to be using it more and more frequently to be able to see current total supplies, sales over the last 24 hours, volumes, and then price changes over the 1 hour, 24 hour, and current price floor price rather. I think this is an extremely important thing to keep track of. And while I'm not very heavy into NFT investing myself, so to speak, I do see that NFTs are a way to help hedge against some of the more volatile price action of other cryptocurrencies. And I do see why people are interested in it. as a stepping stone towards utility NFTs. So I think it's going to be important to look at trackers like this and try to distinguish what is a utility NFT, what is a meme, what is worth my attention, what is worth my investment. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Let me jump out of the way and show you also the current TX Street visualizer. Here's where we get to see the current gas price for Ethereum and get a sense for what we can do to improve our transfers. Looks like on Ethereum, we got a median transfer fee of just under $2. Wow. 23 Gwei. Looks like gas prices are about as low as they've been in a very long time. Get out of the way, or move some of those other metrics out of the way. Stick with median transfer fee, and also median contract fee, and also median gas price. These three are some of the most important in my opinion. These tell us what it takes to transfer some ETH or some Ether, what to execute a contract, so $10 roughly, to be able to send various different kinds of ERC20 tokens and mint NFTs and such, and then 35 Gwei, current pricing right there. Great. This is the least congested I've seen Ethereum in quite a while. Same with Bitcoin, 1 sat per VByte, so extremely low fees over on Bitcoin. If you're interested in doing any kind of a coin join operation on like Samurai Wallet or whatever else, then let's see. No, not price. There we go. Let's see your. We pretty much got that handled. I think what we want to show is okay, but I kind of wanted to see. Yep, median fee and sats per VByte, I guess that's fine as well. But it looks like we're just fine. Median transaction fee, there we go, 44 cents. Actually up a little bit for Bitcoin, but really not that bad. Still, if you're looking at doing any kind of a coin join operation on Samurai Wallet, if you're looking at mixing your coins, which by the way is still technically legal, even with the current proposed legislation in the executive order by President Biden, it's extremely important to just realize that mixing your own coins is perfectly legal based on the opinion of every expert that I've spoken to so far. So mix them if you got them. That's my personal take on that. DeFi Llama is showing us that of all the chains, Ethereum is, well, it's not the top anymore. Let's go ahead and renew that. Kill some of our other tabs as we go. Apparently, my computer is just struggling with the amount of tabs that I have open right now. So, sorry, little computer. Sorry. All right. Ethereum currently at 54% dominance in the DeFi markets. Continuing on a downtrend, as you can see right here. We've been talking about this since it was clear back close to, gosh, I guess not quite that far back. I think we've been mostly using this tool since we were closer to about 68% dominance. Yeah, maybe a little later last year. But we've seen this steady decline up until this point. It's happening, guys. It just is. Ethereum still is synonymous with DeFi and NFTs in many people's minds, but that is shifting as more of the parachain auctions go live for Polkadot, and as more of the IBC chains, the application-specific chains for Cosmos, launch and show what their value is, their value proposition is. So we're seeing a lot more of these networks launch and become usable in these ecosystems, is what I'm saying. So as that happens, we're going to see more value flow out of Ethereum into these other chains. Well, let's go to our EVM alternatives to Ethereum first and check to see what dominance looks like there. Clearly, in that space, Ethereum still wins 70% of the total market, but BSC is close behind it, Avalanche, Phantom, and then Polygon. Polygon had some bad news today. There was a little bit of downtime over today, earlier on in the morning. Haven't checked since then to see how it's working now, but apparently there were some integration problems with the Tendermint consensus protocol, which Polygon uses, which, by the way, is one of its biggest strengths, is the fact that it uses Tendermint as the part of the consensus for its proof of stake chain. But they have so many other things going on, Plonky 2, as well as some other ZK scaling solutions that are being rolled into Polygon. Still one of my favorites for that reason. Phantom has surged ahead in terms of protocol support, now at 200 protocols total, so almost neck and neck with Polygon. When we flip it into the stacked ranking for protocol support, you can see it right there, just behind Polygon. Avalanche coming up as well with 182 protocols, so pretty awesome to see that they're really giving Polygon a run for its money. But Polygon is not done yet, and I know for a fact they've got so much more planned. So I'm excited to see how this shapes up. Right now, though, I'm still very bullish on Polygon as a network, but excited to see what other options launch as well. In particular, if I'm being really vulnerable right now, I'm excited to see how the Pulse chain launch actually goes. So disclosure, I've got a little bit, air quotes, sacrificed for the Pulse chain launch. Not for Pulse X, because I don't think that anybody needs to do fundraising in order to press fork on Uniswap. Nobody else did when they launched their fork of Uniswap, so I don't know why I would do that for Pulse X. But for Pulse, the platform itself, I'm very interested in the utility token that's going to be used for paying gas on that network, and very interested, in having it be potentially set into a proof of stake validator network, as well as there being some kind of a governance structure for owning that token on that network. Very similarly to how people are excited about holding Ethereum, right? 32 Ether when Ethereum goes proof of stake. It makes sense to a lot of people. It makes sense to me, certainly. And then with Pulse X, it's cool. Again, a fork of Ethereum, or a fork of Uniswap. There will be others as well. I'm sure that 1inch and other dexes will potentially just add the RPC for Pulse Chain when it launches and give Pulse X healthy competition, good competition. I'm sure that Pulse X also will be, as the incumbent, it'll be a great place to exchange, a great place to provide liquidity, and possibly do single coin staking or single coin liquidity provision there. But I'm most excited for Pulse Chain itself, the proper EVM fork to launch on its own with its accompanying airdrop. So excited and looking forward to that when it finally goes live here. But that's our EVM lineup there. Chronos still coming up, but not nearly as much support for protocols as these other networks here. Go again to the TVL view and see how much higher it is, though. When you look at total value locked, Chronos is just behind Polygon, so it is coming up about $2.5 billion of total value locked, and one of the few that's in the green over the last month, while everything else is in red. So good job, Chronos team. I probably need to take a closer look. Haven't been able to carve off the time just yet. Let's take a look at the Cosmos area here as well. Terra still gobbling up 91% of the total value locked in this category of Cosmos. It was Kava before, right? Kava was just killing, basically unopposed, running unopposed. And then Terra came in and started gobbling everything up. But when we go look according to just TVL, it's Terra, then Osmosis, then Kava being kind of edged out there, with Thorchain on its way up, and Sifchain still kind of getting its sea legs, 33% up over the last month. So clearly we shouldn't be ignoring what's happening over on Sifchain. But Thorchain being a bit more of a decentralized and private clearinghouse for exchanging assets, I want to take a much closer look at Thorchain as a privacy technology and as a privacy platform, and I think that you should too. Not endorsed to say that, not sponsored in any way whatsoever, just saying that I think it's wise to become familiar with anything that will help you to preserve your privacy, and I think Thorchain may assist with that. But that's our TVL across all those different chains. I think I think being in the Cosmos ecosystem is not a bad option at all for anybody who's interested in it. Let's look at some of our parachains here. So over in the Polkadot ecosystem, we've got A-Star or A-Star at the very top, still under 1 billion TVL, but clearly coming up fast, much bigger than some of the other lower TVL chains that we saw over in the Cosmos IBC ecosystem, as well as Parallel, Moon River, which we hear a lot about, but it's also not quite as heavy a hitter as some of the others that we see in Cosmos ecosystem. May come up faster than we think, though, so definitely keep your eyes peeled over here. Karura, I've heard a lot about, but it doesn't seem to be growing its TVL fast enough to keep my interest. So that's interesting. Shiden, Genshiro, and Energy Web, all interesting projects, but just very, very low market cap, very low TVL as of right now. And so if I'm looking at anything on Polkadot at the moment, I'm looking at these top 3 here. Moonbeam also as well, because it's got potential upside, but I'm not looking closely enough at their chart or their recent announcements to know for sure if that's warranted. So those top 3 definitely have a bit of my attention. Let's take a look at our GPU mining profitability at 14 cents per kilowatt hour, which we're using as our average for at-home mining. The RTX 3090 has really fallen off. Right? We're at below $3 per day in daily profits returned. I've been saying it for weeks now. Buyer beware. If you jump into YOLO purchasing of GPU hardware, you're going to get hurt. It's just that simple. You should not be following anybody who gives you the advice of anybody who tells you you should just go buy a bunch of GPUs. And if they've been telling you that over the last several weeks, I would absolutely check to see what your return window is on any hardware that you've purchased at their recommendation. So be really, really cautious. Stay safe out there, guys. GPU mining is evergreen. It will come back. We just don't know what it looks like, what it will look like at the onset of a new bull run. But for right now, I'm not convinced that Ravencoin will take up all the hash rate of Ethereum. I'm not even convinced that Flux will take up all the hash rate of Ethereum, or that Ethereum Classic will be able to take up all the hash rate of Ethereum without breaking down the tokenomics to an unsustainable level, right? It will consolidate the GPU mining hash rate into the hands of larger mines. So you may just become a statistic where you have to sell at a lower cost basis than you acquired your GPUs. Don't get wrecked, guys. Be really careful right now. It's a very, very tricky game. It's like 4D chess. So just be really cautious. I've been saying it for a while, quite a while. And it's not me just like trying to whatever, FUD or whatever. No, I'm not trying to hoard GPUs just for myself. I'm legitimately asking you, please don't get wrecked. Please don't ever think that I'm trying to tell you that you should YOLO into something. That's not at all correct. Same with, whatever, IoT mining on helium miners or whatever nonsense. No. Most people are just barely taking delivery of helium miners that they ordered 6-8 months ago, and we don't know what the profits are going to look like 6-8 months from now. So be really cautious with hardware purchases. Full nodes, totally. Evergreen. You can always use them. They're always useful. But be really careful with your GPU mining purchases right now. But yeah, top of the stack, it's dipping in its profits so hard, and that's Ethereum, the king daddy of profits for that coin, or for that GPU, and it just gets worse and worse a picture as we go down the list. Biggest loser here is still, of course, the Radeon R9 380. It's in the red, right? So it's in the hole if you're trying to mine with that. The GTX 1050 Ti, if you still have any of these legacy cards, these older cards, barely in the money, but it might not be a bad time to sell to the secondary markets if you can right now. Anything at the lower half of this list, if you own them and you're considering liquidation, you might want to do it sooner than later. I'm not telling you have to, again, not advice, but just take stock of what your goals are and figure out whether or not it makes sense for you to liquidate now, or if you want to hold out another 3 to 6 months and maybe lose 20 to 30% of your asking price. I think you should just be really, really cautious and maybe rip off the Band-Aid as soon as you reasonably can. Just personally, that's what I think. Some of the best coins to mine right now are clearly Quark Chain, Ycash, Ethereum Classic, Flux, and then a few others. Zero, Beam, Ergo. What else is showing up on the list here? Conflux, Equilibria, Ryo, and any other surprises here? Yep, Firo, which is not a surprise. It's often on the list. And that's about it. Yeah, Conflux again. And that is the full lineup of GPU mineable currencies. You can also, of course, go to unmineable and you can choose to flip any of your hash power into some other coin that maybe isn't directly mineable, a la Shiba Inu. And at one point, I guess you could also mine Solana. And then other coins as well, but you may want to flip your hash rate over there instead. Again, if you're looking at this and saying, well, Seth, I keep seeing nice hash showing up on this list as well, I'm going to urge you to take a look at miningrigrentals.com instead. There is a link down in the description of this video if you want to try that out. It supports this channel, but they have much better business practices than nice hash and a much better business model in terms of how you rent out your hash rate. Last but not least, let's take a look at our portfolios. In the GPU mining portfolio, we've got Flux that's on an uptrend. See that little parabolic run up the last 24 hours? Looking pretty darn good. That said, we've lost quite a bit since we started this portfolio. This is not our all-time high for this entry. So if you have some profits still and you haven't taken them, please do so carefully. Please don't try to move the market with a massive sell-off. Same with Ton Token. The portfolio entry is up, but only by a little bit. So if you haven't taken profits profits, just be mindful of it. Guys, the bottom line is here, if you haven't taken profits and you're considering it, do it. But average out, of course. Don't wreck the market. Don't wreck yourself, because you may still want to try to take profits if it runs up a little bit too. You don't want to have that regret. And certainly always hold on to a moon bag if you can afford to. The biggest loser here is Zano, currently really struggling at the moment. And then Haven has jumped up a couple of spots in this portfolio. Etho Protocol is down as well. It's one of those things where fundamentals matter, and the Haven community is definitely supportive of the next go round of this team trying to launch their product with the offshore pegging to gold, to Bitcoin, and to various different fiat currencies. So we'll see how they do this time. Maybe third time's the charm, guys. I'm pulling for you guys. I hope this does well for that team. But hard drive mining portfolio, I'm almost afraid to look right now, frankly, at the hard drive mining portfolio. Looks like storage is in the red, and it just gets worse from there. Chia is down at $67. This is literally an all-time low for Chia. It's never been on a greater fire sale than it is right now. It looks like there's a little bit more blood left to be let out in Chia, and so the poor investor. I see you in the audience. I'm strongly considering, if we do see a little more blood in Chia, potentially taking a position in Chia, because I think that they are going to recover at some point. Who knows when? But the point is that they do have VC dollars, so they're going to be able to invest that into developing their product in the future. Do I have a huge belief in their mission, vision, and roadmap? No, not a huge belief in it. But I think that they will try to deliver something, and that will in turn create positive price action at some point in the future. So I'm looking for a fire sale there. I'm looking for them to absolutely be on death's door as far as how much the price bleeds out before I pick some up. But we're almost there. That sounded really harsh, didn't it? Anyway, I don't care that it sounds harsh. That's just the reality. I'm going to be ruthless in my negotiation for acquiring some Chia, a position in it, because everybody told me I would be crazy not to buy it at $1,600, and here we are. So moving from hard drive mining portfolio into CPU mining portfolio, Raptorium still our biggest winner, but your biggest gains are behind you. Same with Epic Cash, Quantum Resistant Ledger, and then that's it. That's the only thing that's in the money. Monero has held pretty strong at the 11 cent mark here. It may have dipped a little below that over the last week, but it's finding really strong support at that 10 cent range. So great job, Monero team and community. You're holding support there. We just happened to put in a portfolio entry when it was on kind of a freak all-time high. There we go. Move that out of the way. The cable is getting in the way of my camera there. But we put an entry when it was at a very, very high price, probably highest than it's ever been, close to its all-time high. And so it's kind of sought support at this point, and we found it. So here we are at 11 cents. We'll take a look to see how that compares to Dogecoin. That's always the biggest measure for Monero in my book. So taking a look at the ASIC mining portfolio, we've got Zcash at the very top. And the recent surge in its price has put it ahead of pretty much everything else, but not into the profit from the time that we made this entry. Everything is in the red here in the ASIC mining category. Dogecoin is also at 11 cents. Finally found price parity with Monero. That to me is a huge signal that the market is correcting, right? Nature is returning, right? The earth is healing. But that's a good sign in my book, the fact that Dogecoin and Monero are close to price parity. So I don't know, maybe is that some kind of an indicator? I doubt it, but it makes me feel like we're finding something that resembles normal market conditions, because Dogecoin should not be so vastly outperforming Monero based on fundamentals alone. FPGA mining portfolio, we've got Cadena in the top spot, also still in the money. You see right there, it's up, but over the last week, it's gone down. So your highest gains are behind you. Same with 0x Bitcoin. 0x Bitcoin has shown so much resilience. I'm blown away that it's still in the money in this side of the portfolio, but there it is. And again, no more manipulation of that market. Everything else is just down from there. Proof of stake smart coins or smart contract coins. Terra is the only one that is ripping this week. See that 6% up over the last 7 days. Portfolio still very much in the money, a 12x up in terms of just the profits that you can take from your Terra bag. It's one of the few that has been able to do this while everything else is bleeding out, right? Phantom 38% down. Solana 15% down. I mean, people were ecstatic at $200 Solana. You should be really happy at, these acquisition prices, $81 Solana, but not many people are, right? They're just in pain. Cosmos Hub also at $27. This is great. It's pretty much held strong support, not dipping below that $25 mark. Whereas you had a lot of these other coins that have just kind of really fallen back and not been able to return to their previous, even close to their previous all-time high. So I think that Cosmos Hub is showing some pretty great resilience there. Wax also down quite a bit. When it was running up towards $1, that was exciting, but nah, unfortunately, I think it was part of that whole X coin to $1 meme. But Wax does have those strong fundamentals. I do suspect that we're going to see it back over $1 billion for its market cap relatively soon. But the last one in the money is Harmony. Everything else in the red. Internet Computer down bad, just as bad as ever. 88% down. EOS, ZIL, and NEO all down pretty bad. But let's move from our proof of stake smart contracts into the junk drawer. And what do we have here? Everrise. Again, guys, the parlor trick here is that Everrise, when we made this portfolio entry, we would have had to buy about 50% of the entire market cap, right? So it's kind of a false metric. Don't read too much into this. It really throws this portfolio off. But somebody said to enter it and to put in a $1,000 purchase. And our earliest $1,000 purchase put us in possession of almost half the market cap. We can't take this seriously. And you can't time buys like this for every single new meme coin or moonshot coin like this. So don't take it too seriously. If you missed out on some of these coins like Saitama Inu, which again would still be printing at $1,000 entry, still be giving you a $250,000 profit, don't take it too seriously. Don't beat yourself up too much. Nobody caught this, right? It's a 1 in a 12,000, right, or a 1 in a million chance that you would have caught this particular entry point for this particular coin. But there's still a lot of profit in these coins, right? Floki, UFO Gaming, Luffy, Dojilon Mars, Hex up above 13.5 cents. Apparently, we need to add Hedron if it is available for us to add. So that's one that we definitely need to be tracking. We probably need to be, there we go. Hedron, part of that whole Hex family. It's critical infrastructure for Hex in terms of being able to transfer stakes. I'll add an entry for this one later on. We also have Volt Inu, which I have not added to the portfolio yet, but it will be in the profit. Will be in the money. So just be aware, we're going to have $1,000 entries for those. A couple other notable entries are Everdome, which is looking pretty good also in the green. It's over 100% rather profit. And then let's see what else is a notable entry here. Not just Shiba Inu, kind of refusing to die, right? At a $12 billion market cap. I mean, people love them some memes, especially when they start to add some utility. On that note, it'll be exciting to see if there's anything else in that dog themed coin space in the next several weeks. I'm excited to add maybe some new coins that are launching there or chains that are launching there, but don't have anything to add today. But that's our junk drawer, guys. All kinds of opportunities there. And I think we're going to continue to see opportunities growing in that area, right? That's our most profitable area. Even if you do subtract the unrealistic entry points, a lot of profit in meme coins, a lot of profit in these moonshot coins. Don't ignore them, right? People who ignored them this last bull run thought that Bitcoin was going to go to 100K and then put laser eyes on their profile pictures and then mortgaged their home at the top of the market to buy the absolute top, or sold their car or their truck to buy the absolute top and then lost half their money. While laughing at people who bought only $1,000 of some of these other coins and earned their entire year's salary in like 3 months. Life's cruel, right? Life is a fickle mistress, and crypto is fickler still, right? So don't ever make fun of people because they make money a different way than you. But jumping back into our final portfolio, the IBC gang, Terra Cadena Secret, which is killing it right now. Definitely want to do a deeper dive on Secret Network. I am so interested in what they're building. I think it's phenomenal that they're building something that's privacy oriented. And I did a poll in the community tab of this channel. Please do weigh in. Tell me what you think there. Osmosis and then Cosmos Hub. They're in the money. Everything else in the black. Starting with Comdex, ending with persistence, right? Lots of coins that are just down from their all-time high and down from our initial acquisition point. Does that mean that they are fundamentally down? Does it mean that they're fundamentally bad coins? I don't think so. No, not personally. But for example, case in point, I talked about wanting to do a deeper dive on Thorchain. There it is, right? Looking 60% down from when we first made our paper trade here, but still $1.5 billion market cap and clearly strong fundamentals in terms of privacy and being able to interface with other projects so people can trade permissionlessly across different kinds of blockchain protocols. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They're just not showing their best profits right now. And so their market caps are taking a little bit of a beating for the short term. I think most of these have pretty strong fundamentals, though, in terms of application-specific blockchains, which is kind of the whole Cosmos IBC sort of mission and roadmap. So I think that they're all quite strong on their own. But these few are definitely in the money, showing that profit. All right, guys, that is our show for today. Appreciate you tuning in to the very end. I realize this is a lot more tactical, down at 45 minutes, to go over the entire 360-degree view of the markets, of the news, of GPU and ASIC mining, and some of my prognosis for what I think we're going to see over the next short term. Tell me what you think down in the description. Where do you think Bitcoin is headed? I mean, it can only ever go up or down, right? So what do you think is next for Bitcoin? What do you think is the likelihood of us actually getting all the way down to that 15K mark, like you've been hearing me talk about? Am I crazy? Does that sound crazy to you? I'm okay to hear you say that, as you know. I'm okay to hear dissent. Tell me in the comment section, guys. Love hearing you. You're out of control in the comments, and I am absolutely here for it. Remember, you're the reason I make this media. I love your face. I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. Remember to check out mineyour.biz, where you can sign up for Mine Your Biz Insiders, our occasional newsletter where we don't spam you. We do send out occasional important information, including flash sales and important deals on privacy-preserving technology. This is one of the ways that we can talk to you uncensored and without the oversight of third-party media platforms. You can also check out the Mine Your Biz phone as well as merch, or sign up to become an affiliate for either one. Anything sold directly on the mineyour.biz website, you can earn a percentage of. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.